Okay, great. So welcome everybody to our Swedish castle here in Barcelona. And today we are very happy to have look at from the Philippines to give us a workshop on the reality of humankind. So we're not sure how long we will be here, so let us listen to every word we have to say. And also our objective is as we listen is we want to learn in a way that we can share this message with people around us. So let us listen to the same.
Thank you. Hi, good evening, everybody. Welcome. Nice to be back here in the USA and talking to everybody here again. It's a pleasure. So, like Peter said, she doesn't know how long I'll be here for. Actually, we don't know how long anybody will be here for, right? Isn't that the truth? And it's kind of a little bit in the theme of what we're going to learn about today, actually. About time and all that kind of thing, how long we're here for. So, you know, I don't know if you're all familiar with this parable. Is anybody not familiar with it? No. Ah, okay, good. So that makes it easy. This is a parable that was taught by Shakyamuni Buddha and the reality of mankind in order to explain things. So today, what we are going to learn is about two of the things that we heard in it: the vine and the black and white mice. The black and white mice, right? So, first of all, this is an image of the scene. And you can see the traveler hanging down from this very, very thin vine, right? You got 3 dragons in this deep ocean, and you got a very hungry tiger, pine tree, 2 mice, and honeys. So we've been learning about this little by little, I think, over the past few weeks and months. And today, now we've come to the meaning of the vine, this narrow vine that he's hanging onto, and the 2 mice that you can't see up there at the top. So I'm going to try and explain what these mean. Now, the vine and these means that in essence, it's about time. Our talk is, and everyone, you know, we all know about time. So we think, oh yeah, I know about time. So I ask you to keep an open mind when I'm explaining this, and try to kind of look at it as if you've never heard about time before. Because, you know, it's an abstract term and we all know about it. It could be very, very boring if we don't keep an open mind, right? So let's just keep a view of time and let's see what we can learn from this. So the first thing I want to introduce to us is just kind of an icebreaker, actually, is this. We want to see about time and how time is passing by. So I hope that by the end of this talk, we will have some greater awareness of how time is always passing by. And maybe we will have, you know, a different perspective on what to do in life. So I'm going to show this little video here, first of all, to kind of start it off. This is 27-year time lapse of father and son. representation of all humanity, right? People grow up and, the parents become old people and the children become parents. And the parents pass on, the children pass on, and the cycle keeps going. So this is a little snip of everyone's life, of the circle of the entire humanity. Right? Just a moment. So now, for those who haven't seen this, the story of the parable, I'm going to show it right now. So let's have a look at it.
On the true nature of human existence. One day, Vipassana, in Vicinity, went to listen to Shakyamuni Buddha's sermon. This is what human beings are like. Shakyamuni Buddha taught Vipassana, who was listening to Buddhism for the first time, about this in a parable. Millions of years ago, a traveler was going alone across a vast, grassy plain. It was a dreary autumn evening, and the chill wind blew. As he hurried along the path, all at once he noticed white objects scattered around and came to a stop, wondering what they could be. He picked one up and was startled to discover that it was a human bone. What were so many bones doing in such a place? Lost in thought over this, he moved not a step further. Soon from the darkness ahead, he heard something moving and a strange growling sound. He peered into the gloom and made out the distant figure of a fierce tiger, maddened by starvation, racing straight at him. Instantly the meaning of the bones became clear. Other travelers passing this way like him must have been eaten by a tiger. Instinctively he sensed that he was in the same situation. Terrified, he ran back the way he had come, desperate to escape the tiger's jaws. But no human can outrun a tiger. Before long, he felt the tiger's terrible hot breath at his back. It seemed that he had taken the wrong turn. The path ended suddenly in a sharp cliff. He was trapped. A single pine tree stood on the cliff. The traveler thought that even if he climbed the tree, he wouldn't be able to escape the tiger. All he could do was despair. Fortunately, right after that, he spotted a vine hanging from the bottom of the tree at the edge of the cliff. Needless to say, he grabbed hold of the vine and lowered himself as far as he could. The traveler had narrowly escaped with his life, as when he looked up, he saw the tiger on the cliff, gracious way that he murmured. It's a lucky thing this vine was here, or that would have been the end of me. Now I can breathe easy. Then he glanced down, and he couldn't keep from gasping in shock. Lapping the base of the cliff with the angry billows of a bottomless sea. Nor was that all. In the waves were 3 dragons, one blue, one red, and one black, waiting with their bright red mouths wide open for him to board. In horror, he clung tighter to the vine and shuddered. However, human emotions are fleeting. After a while, the traveler began to feel hungry
and looked around for something to eat. That's when he made his most horrifying discovery of all. Two mice, one white and one black, were circling the root of the vine, gnawing at it in turns. The traveller's face turned pale, his teeth chattered, and he shook uncontrollably. He shook the vine vigorously to scare the mice away, but to no avail. They just kept on chewing at the same pace. Soon, the traveller noticed something dripping down from above. Honeybees had been higher at the base of the vine, and now 5 drops of sweet honey fell into his mouth. The traveller's heart was captivated by the luscious honey the moment it graced his tongue, and he forgot the terror of his plight. When Shakyamuni Buddha's sermon reached this point, King Pasenajit stood up and shouted, "Well, everyone, please stop. Don't continue that story anymore, please. How could this traveller be so foolish? How could he ever forget how terrible it is for him to be in such danger with only the distraction of 5 honey drops?" Now, I am too frightened to hear any more of this story. Great King, Shakyamuni Buddha replied, "Do you think this traveller a fool? This traveller, in fact, refers to you." What? How could this traveller refer to me? This foolish traveller represents not only you, but the whole human race. At these words of Shakyamuni Buddha, the entire audience stood up in shock. This is the parable in which Shakyamuni Buddha illustrated the true image of us human beings. The traveller, the autumn evening, the white bones, the tiger, the pine tree, the vine, the white mouse and the black mouse, the bottomless sea, the 3 dragons, and the 5 drops of honey. Each of these symbols represents our image. Let us thoroughly learn the purpose of this native Buddhism through this parable that Shakyamuni Buddha taught.
Okay. What do you think of that? What's your name again? Gregory. What do you think of that?
The first thing I picked up was the window that the little lady had from the what? Was your question was I think the travel or was I think of the 27 weeks?
You can tell me more of that.
I picked up on the movement that the lady had was this.
How about could you focus on what Parable. Stephen.
The whole parable is based on all humans.
Yeah.
The king apparently could not identify them.
Yes.
But I did not see the actual conclusion. Can you tell me?
Yes.
Please.
Yes. Stephen, how did you understand it too? You understood it. This is your second time to see it. That each of these objects in it has, like you said, has some kind of symbolism to human life. To all, not just the king, but to Rocio, Jared, Stephen, Peter, me. Yeah, me too. Yuichi, all of us here, right? This is a parable for everybody, right? So this is the point: is what is the conclusion of it? The conclusion of it is we're going to learn about what each of these points actually mean. So to understand each of them is the really important thing, because we have to know what this parable is saying about me, not saying about other people. It's about me, right? So when we listen to Buddhism, it's a personal thing that we need to be hearing. It isn't about somebody else. It isn't about Rocio. It's about me, right? So this is what the parable is about. So now we're going to learn about the vine and see what the vine actually means. What did Shakyamuni Buddha mean by this thin vine, right? So the vine is thin. This thin vine represents the shortness of the human lifespan. Our lifespan is about 100 years the longest, right? People don't normally live more than 100 years. And if you compare 100 years to the everlasting universe, which is billions of years old, I think, it's very, very short. Literally, it's a blink of the eye, almost. The span of the universe. So 100 years, I don't know, does anybody have a calculator? 100 years into, let's say, 10 billion. And measure, but it's tiny, it's only a fraction, right? So it's over like this. Boom. Boom. And that's human life. It's over like that. That's our life, my life, your life, everyone's life. Literally, it's over like this. But do we actually think it's over like that? Jared's nodding his head, or else he's falling asleep. I don't know. Maybe both. Okay. So he was nodding his head to say, no, we don't actually feel that life is over like this. Actually, we think it's long. And that's why we can get bored and we can fall asleep in lectures. Right? Because we think it's long, because we have time. We think we have time. That's the problem. And Shakyamuni Buddha is saying, no, this vine is very, very thin. Maybe he even said, maybe it was something like this. Thin little thing. That can snap any moment, right? It can go any time. Actually, we don't know how much thickness is in our vine. So, we're going to investigate this now. So let's have a look at the concept of time, because time is actually all we have. I know time is a human invention, right? Anyone disagree with that? No? Okay. Just checking. Okay, so time. Our lifespan, human lifespan of say 100 years is measured in terms of time. To measure time, we use a device like an hour clock, like what you have, an hourglass. This thing over here that they used a few hundred years ago. That's when they didn't have watches or cell phones. Now we use a cell phone to tell the time, don't we? Yes, I remember I took a class and the teacher asked the time and nobody had a watch on them. And she was disgusted. She was saying, doesn't anybody have watches anymore? Everyone looked at their cell phone to have a look at the time. Okay, so anyway, matter, right? We still use it to tell or watch or whatever it is. And we're passing the seconds, the minutes, the hours, and this is how we measure our lifespan. But like I said, time is a human invention. It's nothing that is, it's right. Something is moving forward. So in the video at the start, the father and son, we can see it says 27 years. What is a year? A year is a human invention, 365 days, right? But it's our way of showing that time is moving forward. So someone is X number of years old, that's our way of understanding how long they have been here. What is moving forward? What is moving forward? That's the thing that we need to focus on here and to understand. So let's have a look at what this thing that is moving forward actually is in time. So can you guess what these figures represent? A little guessing game here. So I'm going to throw up some figures here, and the first person to understand them will win the first cup of tea during the break. All right, what's this figure here? Shout it out if you know. Or a guess. Any guesses? Huh? What does it represent? Yeah. It's got something to do with time, okay? That's the only hint I'll give you. Have a wild guess. Wild guess. Number of minutes? Huh? In 100 years? No, but you're on the right track. Okay. Number of minutes in a year. Okay, you got another chance. How about this one here? 8,760. Time? We're talking about time now, not distance. Yeah. Okay. This is all about time today. But any guesses? Huh? Hours in the year? Yes? First cup of tea and the snack that Stephen had to break, okay? Exactly. Number of hours in the year. Year of the year, we think of 8,760 hours. That's all I have. All right. So the average lifespan of 80 years has 42 million minutes, or 700,000 hours, or 29,000 days. Think about that when you're born. If you live to be 80, you have 700,000 hours in your bank account. What are you going to do with them? Well, you got 29,000 days. You start scratching them up on the wall, like you do when it's coming to like something fun. That's if we have 80 years. If we live to be 80, right? If. But who says we have 80 years? Nobody guarantees us 80 years at all. This isn't a movie that's 2 hours long. Our life could be 20 years long, 15 years long. There's no guarantee, right? We have no guarantee. But if we live to be 80. So our vine has shortened even since the beginning of this meeting, right? We've all gotten a little bit older, half an hour older. But at least we're doing something good with our time, right? We're not snoozing or watching television. We're learning something. What is moving then is our lifespan. Our lifespan is moving second by second, day by day, year by year. That's what's moving. So that's what we're measuring with time. Time is measuring our lifespan, which is constantly in motion, right? We don't like time passing, do we? Maybe some people do. But I think most people in general, you know, they dislike the passing of time. We wish we could stop time for... Yeah, the song's about stopping time, isn't it? I wish I could freeze time or stop time. Isn't there? Yes, there is. Why don't we stop time, turn back the clock? Yes, all that stuff. Yeah, we don't like time passing, actually. And, you know, because time actually means destruction. If time keeps moving forward, it means destruction, right? In the end. We are resistant to change. It's called homeostasis, which means keeping the balance, keeping things without changing. We like to be in homeostasis. But Buddhism teaches that we think that our life is permanent, that it's not changing. But this is one of the 4 delusions that is taught by Buddhism. We think that everything is stable, it's fixed. But this is what we hear. We learn that this is one of the mistakes that we make. Actually, everything is constantly changing. Even since the beginning of things are breaking down, even this plastic table is destroying, but we just can't see it. Yeah? Eventually, maybe in 200 years' time, or maybe 500 years' time, it will decay. Plastic is one of the useful things, but one of the terrible things for the environment, right? Because it takes so long to break down, but it will break down, right? So everything is changing, teaches Shakyamuni Buddha. Every single thing. It's always in motion. And we don't like that because we can't stop it. We can't hold on to time. We can't say, whoa, let's freeze it here for a minute. I'm having fun. It's not moving. Because we don't like aging. Because we want to hold on to our youth. We want to hold on to it. because we know that every day it's a race against time, right? A race against time. That's what we're talking about here, making use of our time. So our life is a race against time because we can't stop this clock. There's no stopping it. So we look at things like this to make us look young on the surface, but actually that's not stopping time either. In appearance it is, but it's not really. So actually what we have to learn is, what do we have to do here with our time? What should we be doing to make our time worthwhile? That's what we learn in Buddhism, right? What we need to do during this lifespan that we're hanging onto this narrow spot. And the passing of time can mean the end of happiness, of course, such as separating from those we love. As we learn in Buddhism, every meeting has a separation. Every encounter has a separation. Right? It's kind of sad when you think about it. Tragic. Everybody you meet, like here tonight, all of us will go away. We're here for a while, we go away. So that's life. You know, we have happiness just for a while. What do we do with this time together, though? This time on earth. Perry Como, who knows him? The singer. He's before most of our time. Yeah, you don't know him? Really? My dad used to like him a lot. Just the other day, it seems the kids were running. Actually, someone can read.
The other day, kids were running through the house, slamming the door, breaking glass. Time goes by so quickly, sometimes everything seems so quick.
Isn't that touching? I thought it's so cool that he's talking about his kids, you know, and reflecting on their, you know, when they were young, and then suddenly they're all grown up and they've moved on, right? So that's Perry Como, the American singer. So time constantly moves, just like this hourglass. The sand, it doesn't stop for anyone or anything. Holidays, your birthday, vacation time, your wedding day, the sand keeps running through, right? It doesn't stop. So this is what happens. And then after a while, we notice that everything has moved on and we're still here. So the passing of time eventually means old age if we live long enough, where most of our happiness has come and gone, unfortunately. Right? And as more time passes, the next step is death, something that we don't like to talk about. We don't like to face this fact that we all have to die sooner or later. So we are on a one-way journey towards the afterlife, it is said in Buddhism. This is how it's explained, right? And you can't deny this. Once we are born, we are on a one-way journey towards the afterlife. Actually, this is depicted in the 4 sufferings that we learn about in Buddhism. The suffering of living, aging, illness, and death. So we can see we are born, and then we have different sufferings. Of course, living is suffering, like we learn. Life is suffering, said Shakyamuni Buddha. Aging, you know, we're not getting any younger. And as long as we live, we are open to sickness. So these are in no particular order. We're always aging from the moment we are born, and sickness can come to us anytime, right? And eventually, though, we are on a one-way journey towards our death. Whether we like it or not, this is the truth. This is why it's sometimes hard to listen to Buddhism, because it speaks the truth, right? It can be painful. It can be hard to see it. This is kind of a funny video, but I want to show it to you anyway. Life is short, okay? So it's very well depicted there. Life is short. So that's living, aging, illness, and death in that little video, right? So the four sufferings, yes, we're on a one-way path towards the afterlife, towards dying, right? And we have this thin line here. This is our vine that is the traveler is hanging on to. This line here. So sooner or later, this death will come. We don't know if it's going to be here at 80 or here at 60 or 50 or 40 or 30. We have no idea. So, like I said, nobody likes to think about dying, right? No one likes to think about the four sufferings. We don't like to think about illness or pain. So why not look away? Why should we come here and hear about time passing? That depressing subject, right? It's not thrilled. It could be playing video games down on the beach or something. Why not? Why just not learn this? Why not focus on the reality of life? What do you think, right? So it's, you know, it's kind of a little tough to hear how time short. Can someone read this, usually? We have tomorrow, don't we? Who thinks that they don't have tomorrow? You have tomorrow? You think so, right? Yeah, you hope so, right? We think we do, but are we sure? No, nobody is sure we have tomorrow. But we all believe, and the day that we die, that day we still think that we have tomorrow until we die. This is our delusion, right? So we learn in Buddhism, we try to break this delusion, right? We try to correct it and to make ourselves aware of this mistaken way of thinking, so we can attain this goal of true happiness. So this is what it means by listening to Buddhism. It's called shoman, right? Listening to Buddhism means facing the reality of our life in order to attain true happiness. So coming here, we go on this path. It's like we are all on this path here. When we start listening to Buddhism, we are all on this path, and this is a path towards true happiness. So that's the reason that we are hearing about the passing of time and how short our life is and everything else, because to attain true happiness, right? That's the only reason. Okay, let's take a 10-minute break here. All right. Stephen's the first to attack. Okay, so yes, listening to Buddhism is called shomon. That's in the simplest way of explaining it. It's listening to the teachings. So we listen to the teachings in order to go towards what's called true happiness or absolute happiness, right? So that's what we are doing here. It's got a definite purpose, a really clear purpose as to why we listen to the teachings, right? So time is moving forward. Let's get back to the topic today. Time is the vine, right? That's our lifespan. Our lifespan is the vine, which is time. You can all understand that link, right? You have lifespan and the vine and time, right? You all understand that link? Okay. So this vine is thin, though. Like we said, it's really thin. Can someone read this from something you forgot along the way?
Time flies like an arrow, goes the same, and indeed the days must go with the time. Events of yesterday are simply true for 3 months in the past. Half a year or a year goes by in a blink.
Thank you, Peter. This is from our teacher, Shakyamuni Sensei in Japan. He wrote this. So events of yesterday or today are in 2 or 3 months. Everything goes by so quickly. So this is the thin vine. This is the reason that our vine is so thin. It's not a fat vine. So let's have a little look at a little animation here to make us think about time and the usage that we are making with our time as well. Stevie Wonder said, time is long, but life is short. Sometimes it feels like that, right? Oh, this day is so long. Yeah. So let's have a look at this.
It's not that we have a short life here, but that we waste more. I mean, let's think about that. You spend your life drunk and unconscious, and you come home and fight with your life again. And you spend your life gossiping about people's lives. You want to work and jump to hate for years. And at the end of it, when you retire, that doesn't happen. You gotta look and say, where did time go? 2,000 years I've passed since that and nothing has changed. If you add up all the time that you spend fighting these guys on this significant thing, not speaking about people in your own life, but making sure you're following the wisdom to what they're doing. Instead of the time unconsciously watching TV or channels, there is an actual term that means sitting on a couch, clicking on a button. This is too much what you do. If you had all of this time up, you're going to realize that you have plenty of time to do what you want to do. I mean, I can't stop feeling this. Hey, you have to do all of it. What are you going to say? You can't say that. Go away. But yet, someone calls you to complain for 2 hours about how your job sucks or about how much they decide of this and who's calling you this. You know what's wrong with you? I've already time to do it again. That's a good thing. You could spend time with someone that actually brings value to you, but work on things that you enjoy and that make you life better. Because then, when you're dying, you don't want to say, I'm so glad I did my time with everyone that wants to control your life. Yeah, because I'm happy to spend my time enjoying other things, more people have one thing, going many different. And that's okay. And that we were followers, and we still have the capacity to complain about the shortness of the
We can get money back, but we can't get our time. This is your goal. Anybody got some feedback on what they have? So,
on his deathbed, the Japanese leader Hideyoshi said that his life was like a dream within an exit, that it passed as quickly as the dewdrop disappears with the morning sun.
he conquered all of the time. But at the end of his life, that the life was like we would and nothing was real. And so he conquered the whole country and he had a huge castle of all the power. But at the end of his life, castle which is and then as throughout
All that we see or seen is but a journey within
So we have been here just for a while, and we think we are here so long, but once we compare us with the dinosaurs, you know the dinosaurs lived on this planet for 175 million years. We've been here for like, I don't know, a few hundred thousand. But we think we're the conquerors, we were the first ones here. They were 175 years, they ruled over the world, right? And in our lives, compared to the dinosaurs, it's so short. I've got this piece of evidence on our life, short life. So compared to our ancestors who lived 30,000 years ago, the Neanderthals, their average lifespan is actually 32 years. And today, the average lifespan is some 30,000 years later, is only 85. How much time have we gained in 30,000 years? 55 years. 30,000 years. Not a lot of interest in money. If you think about it that way, right? So, it's showing our life is still so short, and it's not going to grow that much. And 55 years is 30,000 years. It's such a big increase. So, it's a drop in the road. We think that if someone happens to way that when they're 30, all they have to short life, you know. But if they pass away and they're 85, we think, oh, they had a long life. But that's just relative. That's relative between there and there. But from the eyes of the universe, 85 years is still just a little drop. Tiny. In the eye. There's almost no difference between 30 and 85. From the eyes of the universe. So when we think about 10 years of perception of time, when we think about 10 years ahead, it seems like a long time away. But how about when we look at 10 years that have passed? 10 years seems to have passed so quickly, right? What were we doing 10 years ago? Anyone remember? This was 2016 or 2006. Does that seem like? Okay. Well, you were not anything to look at on the kind of So time speeds up actually the older that we get. This is like a phenomenon. Has anybody experienced this? Yeah? Has anybody not experienced it? Yeah, I think we've all experienced it, right? For me, it was around the age of 16. I was in third year of high school, and like about 15, yeah. And that year, just for the first half of it went normally, and then the second half it just went fast. And then every year after that, just went faster and faster. That's when I noticed it. Before that, it was like, okay. But then it all changed when I was like 15. So, maybe you guys had a similar experience, right? Anybody had a similar experience? At a certain time, it was like kind of a switch and everything kind of changed? No? You want to share? No? But for children, if you give them 10 minutes break, it's like an hour. They're out playing and they're throwing things around and they're like enjoying themselves, right? For adults, it's like, okay, a cup of tea, back to work. Right? So we're like that. So actually, time does speed up the older we get. And what's the reason for this? Of course, the clock, it doesn't get faster, but it's our perception of it. And what's the reason for that? Let's have a look. Why? The older we get, the quicker time appears to pass. And this was a study done by a French guy named Paul something, I forget, Janet, yeah. And this is a short video to explain his theory.
Last time, some people got faster, the older you get. When we were young, this fellow did it on forever. But at the age of 10, he's on by, not like that. So each of the passes makes a lot of sense. So it makes sense why a year is going that faster. Then why is it as time passes, you have harder time to remember the things that want to pass? This is what we the psychological aspect. The is another person's experiences. All when you go on the first day of your new job, but after starting the first week there, remembering what you did the last Tuesday night, you call the milestone of your first love is, and the wedding day is easy. But remembering that even if it's worth this for years past is not. This is because our experiences learn together, and I can't stand out for it all. So why stand up for life? Yes, it is really expensive. It's wonderful. Where I myself wild. But what is all of it? We all found out and I experience so hard. I'm trying to have love. What's the use of your life? And you go out and experience three things every day. And you learn to keep life.
So the point is that of this video is that time does appear to go by quicker the older that we get, right? What do we do with time? Okay, that's up to everybody, but here we learn Buddhism, so we are encouraged to learn Buddhism more as quickly as possible before our time runs out, right? So this is a letter by the Master Renyo. That's him up there. He lived in Japan about 500 years ago. And he taught Buddhism. He taught Master Shinran's teachings. And this is one of his letters that he wrote. So actually, let's read it together. Right? When we deeply consider the transiency of this world, what is altogether fleeting is our own span of life. It's like an illusion from beginning to end. And so we have not yet heard of anyone living 10,000 years. A lifetime passes quickly. Can anyone now live to be 100? Will I die first, or will my neighbor? Will it be today or tomorrow? We do not know. Those we leave behind and those who go before us are more numerous than the dewdrops that rest briefly beneath the trees on their leaf tips. Hence, we may have radiant faces in the morning, but in the evening be no more than white thorns. Some of you have read this many times, for some of you it will be the first, but for me it's a lot, but every time, these words are so deep and they're so profound. Do you feel the same way? Every word is so impactful because what he's talking about is the truth, right? Everything in this letter is the truth. Our life is fleeting, like an illusion from beginning to end. We have not yet heard of anyone living 10,000 years. He said, can we live to be 100? Of course, this was 100 years ago. This was 500 years ago. So now today, we can live to be 100. But can we live to be 150? No, we haven't heard of anyone living to be 150 years old. So our life is still fleeting. There's something very profound and kind of sad about this letter too. How do you think? What do you think of this letter? How does it impact you? Yeah. Yeah. Yes, exactly. So it's just like Hideyoshi said, it's like a dream within a dream, right? That's what the Master Renyo was also saying here. So I want to watch a little bit of this. Actually, we're running out of time, so I wanted to show this clip from this animation here. This is unlocking animation number 1.
The living beings will inevitably perish. Everyone knows that all will surely have to die in the end. However, we all think this will happen until the far future. Let's see some statistics on life expectancy are being shared on the news. When we start calculating the difference from what we age, people lived in hours to rest of peace that they believe that they are still fine. By the time that they think they have left, there's life and income and life. Who knows how many times each of us has said, wow, where are you here? Or, oh my, the years come to an anyway. Before we even know it, we've been constantly occupied at great speed, moving forward towards death. Death is not far away in the future. We will rapidly reach the age at which our parents would have died. More than that, our remaining time may not be years. Death could come as soon as tonight. Those of you who are trivial and Buddhist will know about Martinez letter from their place. In it, he wrote, thus we may have radiant faces in the morning, but in the evening we reduce to white bones. Radiant faces in the morning means this. Red cheeked in the morning, our loved ones and continue tell us that see us later and head out. But those same loved ones may be reduced to white bones in the evening. A once red cheeked face may return and do the wave of life. We often see this on TV in our daily lives. We stop making us the idea that there will be a tomorrow, and we aren't going to die yet. However, Master Shira came forward with this request. Life is such a life and die tonight. Please, I want to be initiated now. Reverend Kishi, upon hearing this truth, he was made to see that he himself had been immediate enough to strongly believe that he would not die just yet. And he was comfortable with this. The reason why Master Shira became involved was his sense of impermanence, which made him want to become clear on the very urgent issue of what will do after death as soon as possible.
So time is running out, even in this talk. So now we have seen how fast our life is going by, depicted by the narrow line, right? So how about the two mice? What are the two mice? What are these things doing? The black and the white mice. They represent day and night, and you can see them there nibbling on the vine, right? So it's like this animation here. Day and night never stop, right? Even if we're sleeping, isn't our vine being shortened? Aren't we getting older? How many hours are we sleeping every year? Maybe, I don't know, a certain number of days, months, weeks, we're spending our time asleep, right? That's the black mouse. So if we're sleeping or if we're awake, these mice, they are steadily at it 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So that's the horrible little mice that are chewing away at our vine, and this is the reality. The Earth never stops rotating, and with each rotation, our lives get shorter and shorter, and we're getting older and older. Right? So the traveler, look at him here, he's frightened once he sees these two mice. So it's like becoming aware that every moment of our life that passes by is time lost. And then I must fall to my death. Once after a certain amount fall to my death. Right? The traveler became aware of that and he became really scared. But are we scared? Are we frightened to hear about the two mice night and day nibbling away at our time? We're not actually, right? But we should be. Huh? Huh? No. Yes, but shouldn't we see the mice now that you know what they represent? Do you feel scared? No. Right? No. But you know the meaning of it, right? It's time is being, maybe I'm just not explaining it well enough. Okay. But for Master Shinran, he couldn't see the mice either, but he was really scared because he had this sense of impermanence. So all of us can have that sense of impermanence too. By listening to Buddhism, we can have that state of mind, right? That sense of urgency. But I've got to do something. My life is not here forever. I have to do something with it. What's the most important thing? Right? That was his young mind at the age of 9, right? So these minds, there are no guarantees. Are you each to do it? So the black and white mice, these are time is the constant motion of time. And like we talked about, nothing is static. And this is also verified in science too, that it's always moving, such as space-time is always moving. The universe is expanding continually. The largest example, and then how about the smallest example is that the atoms in our cells are always in constant motion. Even if we are sitting down, these atoms are always moving. So this is constant motion in our life, just like this hourglass. It's constantly moving on. So time represents the shortness, right? Our thin lifespan. We believe that life is something that doesn't change, that it's like permanent. But when we learn Buddhism, we have this understanding. It's kind of broken because we are told that everything is changing, that everything actually is impermanent. Shakyamuni Buddha taught us that we should look at life as it is. Look at the reality that life is impermanent in order for to attain true happiness, to become truly happy. The older we get, the faster time goes by. And the black and white mice are representing day and night. And they are continually, our lifeline is being continually shortened day and night by these two mice, represented with these two mice. Continuously is the key word here. There is no break. Right. So that's the end of our talk. And just a quick note, next week we have a special video showing of this movie called In Time. If you haven't seen it, I recommend it to you, especially after hearing this little talk that we've had here. It's a really interesting movie to show what's more important, time or money. So if you're here next Thursday, definitely stop by. All right, thanks so much for listening. Bye. Yeah.
Yeah, green hall. Yeah, it is, yeah. Yeah. And it's wonderful to have you all with us. I hope you got a lot out of today's talk. And if you'd like to accept your precious donations, the cost of the donations are each to share solutions with a lot of people